I was the despised imposter in the novel, yet I fell in love with the adored true heir. I hid his DNA report and locked him inside the villa, forcing him to endure my twisted affection day after day. The true heir hated me with every fiber of his being, but I didn't care. I didn't want his heart, only his body. Now, though, I've decided to let him go. Not because I suddenly grew a conscience, but because I'm dying. I'm back. I carried a cake in one hand and shouted toward the bedroom, Lincoln, I brought you your favorite matcha cake. As expected, silence. What a petty guy. Couldn't even bother to answer. If I'd known, I wouldn't have bought it for him. I'd even rushed to the bakery before closing time just to get it. My hand curled faintly, blood seeping beneath the skin. I pushed open the bedroom door and set the box on the nightstand. Lincoln sat with his head bowed, reading, a pair of rimless glasses perched on his nose. The warm yellow glow of the lamp washed over his face, giving him a polished, jade-like elegance. The only thing ruining the picture was the chain locked around his wrist. Rough, harsh, completely out of place on him. I slipped off my coat and sat down on the bed. My hand hadn't even touched Lincoln when his brows furrowed in sharp disgust. Get off! My fingers froze midair. I forced a stiff smile. Really? That heartless? I'd always known he loathed me, but to spit it out so bluntly was rare. You reek, don't you realize it? Get out of my room. Now, too. I slunk out of the bedroom, shoulders drooping. Lowering my head, I sniffed my collar. No smell. Maybe it was because I'd just come back from the hospital. That place was full of mixed odors. I must have accidentally carried back the scent of some alpha's pheromones. I stripped off all my clothes and stuffed them straight into the washing machine. Then I stepped under the shower, letting the water soak me completely. A strange, heavy confusion welled up inside me. Hunter, the symptoms are recurring headaches and memory lapses. Our preliminary diagnosis is a brain tumor. There are two options. One is conservative treatment, but the tumor in your head is like a ticking time bomb. We don't know when it might rupture. The other is surgery, but the success rate is only about 50%. I chose neither, because I knew, whichever I picked, the ending would be the same. I was destined to die. It was the plot of the original book. The villain, Hunter, always met a tragic end, but I was so unwilling. I was about to die, in the very year I had fallen hardest for Lincoln. For Lincoln, though, this was something worth celebrating. The imposter who stole his identity, the one who imprisoned him in a sunless villa, the person he despised most, was finally about to die. He'd be free. 3. But before I die, there's no way I'll let him go. Every moment I could steal from Lincoln, I would never give up. With that thought, I turned off the water and dried myself. I didn't bother with underwear, just pulled on an oversized t-shirt. In the dark, I slipped into Lincoln's bedroom. He'd already turned off the light and lain down. I climbed onto his bed, lifted the blanket, and straddled him. Lincoln, scoot over. Let's sleep together. Lincoln kept his eyes tightly shut, clearly unwilling to respond. Restless, I rubbed against him. Don't ignore me. I showered. I'm completely clean. Not a trace of smell. Smell for yourself, HM. Just as I was about to keep pestering him, the world spun. My throat was caught in his grip, and he slammed me down onto the mattress. Lincoln glared down at me, his beautiful lips spitting out two filthy words. Slut. The reaction in me was instant. Maybe I was a masochist. The colder Lincoln acted, the harsher his words, the more it thrilled me. Baby, say more. I love it when you curse me. Hatred burned in his eyes. Disgusting. He leaned down and bit into the back of my neck, like he was tearing into prey. But I was a beta. I didn't even have a gland there. His bite didn't arouse me. It only hurt. His movements were rough, completely without tenderness. In the dark, our kiss carried no affection, only hate. That night, sweat soaked through my hair more than once. The matcha cake I had brought for him, Lincoln barely touched it. Instead, the cloying cream ended up smeared across my mouth and my body. Lincoln poured every ounce of his fury into me. That damned brat. By morning, my back ached, my waist was sore, and the bed was a wreck. Lincoln had already gotten up and disappeared, leaving me tossed aside like trash. I held my pounding head and let out a bitter laugh. Hunter, isn't this exactly what you wanted? No, this isn't sweet surrender. It's willing humiliation. Awake, and still shameless. 4. The moment I awakened, I knew the entire plot of this book. I was Hunter, the villain, the despised imposter, and Lincoln, the true heir, the radiant protagonist. Everyone loved him and loathed me. Everything I had for more than 20 years vanished overnight, so I turned dark, and I began my long path of self-destruction. I ordered people around me to scheme against Lincoln, again and again, until one by one, they all left me. They thought I was too spoiled, too vicious, and instead, they were drawn to Lincoln. In the end, I was abandoned by everyone, left with nothing. My only role in the book was to push the story forward, to make Lincoln grow faster. When he finally stood on his own, becoming the official heir of the corporation, I stumbled into traffic one day and was killed in a car crash. That ended my wretched life. 5. But now, there's one change in this book. That change is me. I fell in love with the protagonist, the adored true heir, Lincoln. From the very first moment I woke up and saw him, I loved him. Even I found it unbelievable, but I had only one thought. I had to have him. Back then, Lincoln and I were still close, like brothers. He wasn't talkative, but he always did things quietly and well. And I had this ridiculous savior complex. Wherever I went, I dragged him along, acting superior while pretending to help him. Over time, Lincoln became my shadow. Looking back now, if the original Hunter hadn't insisted on taking Lincoln everywhere as his sidekick, his false identity might not have been exposed so quickly. Anyway, at the point in the story where Lincoln's identity was about to be revealed, I interfered. I stole the DNA report that belonged to him. After bringing him home, I drugged him. Lincoln had no defenses. When he opened his eyes, he found himself imprisoned by me. From then on, the flawless, adored protagonist became my caged bird alone. 6. When I first locked him up, Lincoln's reaction went from stunned disbelief, thinking I was just playing a prank, to rage, to disgust, and finally, numbness. The time he fought me the hardest was the night I forced him. I still remember it clearly. Lincoln's eyes were bloodshot, sweat dripping down his temples. He glared at me like he wanted to tear me apart limb by limb. He said, "Hunter, you make me sick. I hate you. I'll never forgive you." I didn't care. After all, I only wanted his body, not his heart. It wasn't that I couldn't have it. I simply didn't want it, didn't need it. Lincoln's body was intoxicating. During the time I kept him captive, I tasted it more than once. So even if I died, it didn't matter. After a toxic character like me died, the story would eventually return to its proper track. I'd send the DNA report to his family, watch him be welcomed back, recognized, and finally reach his destined peak. As I thought this, a voice suddenly rang in my head. "Hey, man, you finally figured it out. If you keep messing with the plot, this world is going to collapse." I froze for a second before asking, "And if the world collapses, then what?" The system rolled its eyes. "What do you think? Everyone dies, obviously." 7. For the rest of my days, I quit working at the company and spent all my time pestering Lincoln at home. He was so annoyed he wished he could sleep 24 hours a day just to avoid me, but I had a thick skin. Even when he refused to talk to me or look at me, I clung to him, kissed him, touched him. When we watched TV, I curled up in his arms. When we slept, I wrapped around him like an octopus, refusing to let go until his scent covered me. Come on, I didn't have many days left. What was wrong with holding the person I loved as much as I wanted? The system scoffed at me. It pointed at Lincoln, then at me. "Bro, he really looks like he can't stand you. I've been to so many story worlds, and you're the first idiot to actually turn, throwing yourself at someone who doesn't want you, into reality." I ground my teeth. Shut up. Of course I knew he hated me. "Hunter." I looked up. Lincoln was staring at me with a blank expression. "Don't you have work to do?" "Nope." I grinned, leaning closer. "I'm rich. How about it? Be nice to me, and your big brother will shower you with gold coins." For some reason, those words struck a nerve. Suddenly, Lincoln shoved me hard. Caught off guard, I toppled off the bed, my head cracking against the corner of the nightstand. A wave of dizziness hit me, followed by sharp, unbearable pain. I clutched my forehead, grimacing. Lincoln's expression grew tense. "Hunter, you..." But when he pulled my hand away and saw not even a scratch, his look immediately turned mocking again. "Quit pretending. It wasn't an external wound, it was inside." And of course, there was no way to explain it without sounding like a lie. 8. Stop faking it, Hunter. You really should see a doctor. I leaned against Lincoln's chest, groaning dramatically, swearing he had broken me. Lincoln looked down at me, his gaze cold and detached. "Speaking of doctors, that actually reminded me. I really should go see one." You're right," I muttered. "I've been feeling off lately. Better get checked out. Who knows, maybe they'll find something terminal. Wouldn't that make you happy?" Lincoln's lips curled into a mocking smile. "People like you always live forever. What a shame. Why couldn't a plague like me last 100 years? The next day, I went back to the hospital for a follow-up. The doctor told me the tumor in my brain had gotten much worse than before. "With this illness, the most important thing is to stay relaxed," the doctor said. "Don't get upset too easily, and especially don't let your emotions run wild. You have to believe. it can be treated. No emotional outbursts, stay cheerful, but all I could picture was Lincoln's face, mocking, disgusted, full of hatred. Me, cheerful, yeah, right, still, I nodded like I was taking it seriously, pretending I'd keep it in mind. And then I went home, and picked another fight with Lincoln, because I caught him watching TV, and on the screen, there was a news report. Grace had just returned from studying abroad in Europe. The girl on the screen was beautiful, her smile radiant. I knew her. She was the heroine of the story, Lincoln's childhood friend, his first love. 9. I snatched the remote and switched off the TV. Still not satisfied, I slammed the remote to the floor. Pieces scattered everywhere. Lincoln just sat on the sofa, watching me lose my temper with cold eyes. What? Grace is back and you're thrilled, aren't you? Well, too bad. You can't leave this place. You won't even get to see her. You've already been with me, ruined by me, yet you still want her. Do you even deserve her? Lincoln cut me off with a voice like ice. Hunter, stop acting insane. Damn it, I was so jealous. The thought of Lincoln walking free, marrying the one he loved, while my corpse rotted here unnoticed. It ate me alive. I was so jealous, I didn't want to let him go. But, what could I do? I was dying. 10. Never in my life had I wished so desperately, that I wasn't sick, that I wouldn't die so soon. Because then, even if it was only his hatred, I could stay tangled with Lincoln for a lifetime. But I guess bad people really do get punished. Someone like me was destined for a tragic ending, and Lincoln was destined for happiness. That wasn't such a bad thing, was it? After my tantrum, I finally wore myself out. I slumped on the sofa, staring blankly into space. Lincoln had already gone back to the bedroom, slamming the door shut. He hated me so much, he couldn't even stand breathing the same air. I let out a bitter laugh. Too late for jealousy now. What mattered most was putting the story back on track. I slipped Lincoln's DNA report into an envelope and mailed it out. Soon, his family would receive it, and soon, the plot would return to where it belonged. 11. It was the first time in ages that Lincoln and I weren't speaking. Well, really, it was just me ignoring him. For Lincoln, it was probably a relief. Frustrated, I wandered the streets alone. I passed by a bar. Before I knew it, I had gone inside. I didn't have any friends in this world. Even drinking, I was always alone. Resting my chin on my hand, I asked the system, how much longer do I have left? Over the noise of the bar, it shouted in my ear, at most, half a month. Half a month. When the time came, would it hurt? The system seemed to read my thoughts. You've got a brain tumor. Toward the end you'll probably slip into a coma, have seizures, maybe even paralysis. Stop. I don't want to know how pathetic my death is going to be, okay? The system fell silent for a moment. But, I do have a pill. It was meant for a host to take. 1 dose, and you'll die peacefully, without pain, freed from the story. But my last host chose to stay in the previous world. Since you look so pitiful now, I'll give it to you. I took a swig of alcohol and laughed. You think I'm pitiful? Don't you think I'm rotten? Even if I suffer when I die, isn't that exactly what I deserve? The system looked at me, then shook its head. I think, maybe you're just a little pitiful. In the end, I decided to accept its kindness. I'd pick a good day, take the pill, and die quietly. As for Lincoln, given how little he cared, by the time he found out I was gone, he'd probably already married Grace, inherited everything, and stood at the peak of his life. Why should I worry about anything more? But before I died, I should at least tell him the truth. 12. I stumbled home drunk at 2 in the morning. I pushed open Lincoln's bedroom door and yanked him up from bed. He had been fast asleep. The sudden glare of the light made him wince, his beautiful face scrunching up like an angry cat. Hunter, how much longer are you going to torment me? Don't worry, it wouldn't be for long. Lincoln sniffed, his face darkening even more. You've been drinking. Don't sit on my bed. You're filthy. I ignored him, grinning as I stared at him. Shoo, don't talk yet, Lincoln. Look, see what this is. I shoved the DNA test into his hands. The report showed, Lincoln and my father, 99% genetic similarity. He was the real son. I was just an imposter. Did you know, Lincoln? You're the true heir. I've known all along, but you didn't, right? Today, out of the goodness of my heart, I'm telling you. So, how does it feel, having me steal your place for so long? Don't you just want to kill me? Reeking of alcohol, I acted the fool, like some deranged lunatic. Lincoln's eyes locked on the report, his grip tightening until the paper crumpled. As long as I keep you locked up, you'll never go back, I taunted, piling on the fire. Hate me more, despise me more. That way, when I was gone, he'd feel nothing but relief. 13. You locked me in here. After a long pause, Lincoln finally spoke. His voice was strained. It wasn't because you loved me, but because you didn't want me taking your place, right? I raised an eyebrow and asked deliberately, word by word, then what? What do you think it was? Don't take yourself so seriously. Lincoln's lips twitched. Finally, he threw the report in my face. His tone was icy, his eyes even colder. Get out. My chest ached. It felt like someone was slicing me with tiny knives, each cut bleeding fresh pain. Fine, I said. I stood up. I'm leaving. Don't even think about missing me. Even I had to laugh bitterly. Ghosts of me or not, Lincoln wouldn't miss me. 14. Mission accomplished. Down in the courtyard, a cold wind cut through, sobering me slightly. I took a deep breath and called out to the system. Give me the pill. The system dawdled, rummaging through its virtual bag. I don't get it. You leave, then spout all this venom. I assent. He annoying enough. Careful, when you die, he might come dig you up and whip your corpse. I shrugged. Exactly why I want him to hate me even more. Don't want him feeling anything else. Would be a hassle later. The system rolled its metaphorical eyes. What other feelings? Love you? Unless he's a masochist. I glared in frustration. Damn it, we've been together for so long. You think I wouldn't worry about him developing feelings? Enough talking, you chatterbox. Give me the pill. This system, always pushing people toward death. Well, seems like I really am dying. The pill was transparent, like a tiny orb of light. I swallowed it. Nothing special at first, just a gradual lightness. And then I floated upward. Finally, I reached the same height as the system. We looked at each other. I glanced down. My hands had turned semi-transparent. Like a soul. My body lay on the ground, lifeless. This is a fake pill. 15. My life had been a constant tightrope, full of traps. Never thought I'd be given a fake pill right before dying, leaving me in this liminal state, neither fully human nor ghost. The system insisted it was the alcohol I drank before taking the pill. The combination caused this unusual effect. It had never happened in any of the other worlds it had visited. By now, I could only rage helplessly. After struggling with the system a bit, I finally wore out. There wasn't much I could do in this state, so I drifted back to Lincoln. Lincoln was truly extraordinary. Even in life, I was naturally cold. Summer or winter, my hands and feet were always icy. But nestled in Lincoln's arms, I'd feel warm within 10 minutes. Now, as a spirit, I expected a chill. Yet floating back to Lincoln, I felt that same warmth. I rested my face against him. Since I had left, Lincoln hadn't moved, maintaining his original posture. He stared blankly at the DNA report scattered on the floor. If he had just turned slightly, he could have seen the key I left on his nightstand. Within a minute, he could have freed himself from this room that had trapped him for so long. Yet, for some reason, he didn't move. Slowly, he tucked himself deeper into the blanket, furrowing his brow as if freezing, tightening the covers around him. I hesitated, then asked the system, is my spirit's aura too strong? Look at him shivering. The system snapped. Act normal. You're not a vengeful ghost. 16. My resentment was pretty heavy, but the system probably didn't know that. To let Lincoln sleep peacefully, I drifted a few meters away, settling just outside the living room. As expected, his tense brow relaxed. I couldn't help but chuckle bitterly. What was this? In life, I didn't deserve to touch him. In death, I still couldn't approach him. The absolute divide between hero and villain. Damn novel. I curled up on the sofa and spent the night there. The good news, as a spirit, I didn't get a sore back no matter how I slept. The bad news, no blanket. My navel always felt cold. The next morning, I was woken by a violent banging. Opening my eyes, I saw the door being forced open. My mother, perfectly made up, and my father, immaculate as ever, followed by fully armed police officers, stormed in. They burst into Lincoln's bedroom. My mother's eyes landed on Lincoln, chained to the bed, and she burst into tears. My son, my precious son. Her eyes red, she touched Lincoln anxiously, left and right, before ordering the chains broken. Oh my God, how could Hunter do this to you? When I find him, I'll throw him in prison. Throughout it all, Lincoln's expression remained calm, even blank, as if he were a bystander, not the one affected. And the key I had left, still completely ignored. Are people in this book blind? I couldn't help complaining. A huge key right there, and they can't see it. They had to break the chain with that old saw. Probably. Static vision, 0. Finally, the chain snapped. Lincoln got out of bed and spoke his first words of the day. Where's Hunter? My mother froze. I don't know, but he can't run away. Lincoln nodded. Find him. Bring him to me. 17. I don't know if ghosts can hold grudges, but I definitely wanted to. Lincoln's expression was intimidating. A damp, vengeful male ghost, even heavier than my own ghostly aura. He must really hate me now. If he caught me, I'd be shredded into pieces. I inwardly thanked my luck. I was already dead. He couldn't get me. Down at the courtyard, a crowd had gathered, whispering, "This morning's body discovery, so scary. Not a suicide, right? No wounds at all. Don't know. So young, what a shame." They were talking about me. Sure enough, the spot where I fell yesterday was empty today. Not bad. Otherwise, seeing a corpse in the middle of the street would be terrifying. "Son, what are you looking at?" Lincoln turned, expression cold. "Nothing. Let's go." 18. I didn't have many contacts saved in my phone. By coincidence, both my frequently used contacts and emergency contact were set to Lincoln. So when the funeral home called to notify someone to claim my body, they called Lincoln. My spirit drifted to him, curious to see his reaction. "Don't get too happy," I muttered to myself, "or I'll really be upset." Lincoln answered the phone. After hearing the staff's words, a trace of mockery flickered across his handsome features. "Hunter, what trick are you pulling now?" The funeral staff seemed confused too. "Sir, this isn't a joke. Please come as soon as possible to complete the claim procedure." Lincoln's expression slowly faded. Finally, a pale, cold calm settled over him. "Fine. I understand," he said lightly. He hung up, grabbed his car keys, and stood to leave. I followed him, sighing. As expected, no big reaction. I had hoped that my death might stir at least a little emotion in him. But apparently, I had overestimated. Scree! A sharp screech of tires on asphalt startled me, followed immediately by honking horns and angry shouting. "Damn it, watch where you're driving. If you're gonna die, hurry up and reincarnate, stop endangering others." Shaken, I looked at Lincoln. His brow was furrowed, and his hands gripping the wheel were trembling slightly. He wasn't as calm as I had imagined. "Lincoln, are you crazy?" My hand passed through his shoulder, trying to shake him awake. But of course, I couldn't reach him. "Don't zone out." Traffic surged again. The system piped up, curious. "Wow, his reaction is strange. Seems like he doesn't actually ignore you like he pretends. If he'd been distracted even a second longer, the world might have collapsed. Lucky he's the protagonist." I smacked the system with a mental glare. "Shut your crow mouth." 19. The rest of the way, I kept my eyes glued to Lincoln, not wanting any unexpected moves. Luckily, the drive was smooth. We arrived at the funeral home. Lincoln didn't go inside immediately. He lit a cigarette outside. I was surprised. When did this guy learn to smoke? After all this time with him, I still didn't know him well. Or maybe I had never really understood him. My body lay in the cold mortuary room. Staff stood nearby, lifting the white sheet. "Please accept our condolences." Lincoln didn't speak. His pale, cool fingers lightly brushed my face, as if checking whether I was faking death. Seeing my own corpse from this perspective was weird. Suddenly, Lincoln pulled the sheet off with force, revealing my bare body. His gaze locked on the red birthmark on my shoulder. The staff recoiled for a moment. "Sir, please respect the deceased. He's dead?" "Yes, he really is dead. How dare he die?" Lincoln's expression was frightening. Not what I expected. He looked like my death had gone against his wishes. "What are you trying to do, Lincoln?" I muttered jokingly to myself. "Couldn't be that you're attached to me." Next moment, Lincoln struck my face sharply. Then he grabbed my neck. The force shook the metal bed beneath me. "Hunter, how dare you die?" Damn, he wasn't missing me. He hated that he hadn't ended me himself. Is there no justice in this world? The staff seemed intimidated. After a moment, one cautiously approached. "Sir, time's up. Hunter's body will be cremated, and you will be notified." Lincoln let go. His expression returned to cold detachment. "I understand." 20. Oh my God, so scary. Why treat someone like an enemy? Could the deceased owe him money? Possibly. Look, he's left marks on the neck. What kind of nonsense was that? Lincoln left without a word, ignoring them. On the way home, rain suddenly poured. I actually liked rainy days. The sound of rain was calming. Lincoln, not so much. Whenever it rained, he became unusually irritable. Of course, what I liked, he usually disliked. We were opposites. Lincoln returned home, slightly drenched. My mother came out of the kitchen, drying her hands. "Son, where have you been?" "He's dead," Lincoln said. She blinked. "Who's dead?" "Hunter. He's dead." I went to the funeral home and claimed his body. Lincoln's dark eyes, washed by rain, looked even deeper, more intense. His gaze alone unnerved her. "Dead?" She raised her voice. "Good riddance. No need for you to do anything, son." Lincoln's expression shifted into confusion. Good riddance. You spent 20 years with Hunter, didn't you feel anything? She answered without hesitation. Hunter was always spoiled and reckless, did so many outrageous things. He deserved it. I wouldn't protect him. Besides, you are my real son. Spoiled and reckless? Lincoln repeated softly. But you said he was innocent and cute before. My mother had held me proudly when I was alive, thinking I was perfect despite my flaws. Now, all that was shattered. That's what NPCs in a story are like. Their emotions vanish in an instant. Just because he wasn't the true heir. You think he's spoiled. You think he deserved to die. 21. Lincoln's tone was sharp, almost as if he were defending me. She stepped back, cornered. Son, what are you saying? Hunter's death has nothing to do with us. He must have committed suicide out of guilt. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sent the DNA report himself. A flicker of doubt appeared in Lincoln's eyes. He sent it to you? Yes, the address is Lakeview Complex, Building 6. Suddenly, Lincoln laughed aloud. A moment later, he muttered under his breath. Ridiculous. What are you pretending now, Hunter? I complained to the system, feeling wronged. He's saying I'm pretending again. No matter what I do, he thinks I'm pretending. The system rolled its eyes. Stop pretending. But don't you think he's acting more and more OOC? I frowned. What do you mean? Lincoln's original character is gentle, filial, and upright. But look at him now. He's on the verge of shaking the world. If the protagonist keeps straying from the story, the world will collapse and everyone will die. The system shot me a glare. All your fault. Me again? I couldn't argue with that. True, it was my fault. Fine, let's observe a few more days. If things get too out of hand, I'll apply the story glue or something. I didn't catch the rest of the system's mumbling. I kept my eyes on Lincoln. He seemed even thinner than before, skinnier than when I had locked him up. He hadn't been sleeping well. His brows were tightly furrowed, as if trapped in a nightmare. The only person who could give you nightmares is dead, isn't he? Why aren't you happier? I spun anxiously in the sky. He's weak. Did he catch a cold in the rain? What if he gets sick and no one notices? Look at him tossing and turning. What should I do? System, think of something. 22. The next few days, I stuck with Lincoln like glue, together with the system. The story seemed to get back on track. Lincoln began taking lessons at home, learning all sorts of things. I knew his hobby was painting, but he was smart, even complicated finance subjects came easily. On top of that, he had to go out sometimes to socialize with his father, learning to drink, learning instruments, boxing. He was growing step by step, but all I could feel was how exhausted he was. He looked unhappy every single day. They treat him terribly. One evening, Lincoln came home from an event, leaning over the sink to vomit, pale, hair soaked with sweat. I'd rather take him back myself, I murmured quietly. Lincoln wiped his face, lifted his gaze. Looking into the mirror, I felt for a moment as if our eyes met. A phone pinged. Lincoln checked his phone. Son, tomorrow you're scheduled to meet your marriage partner Grace. Rest early tonight. Grace, at least the person he liked. Would he be happy? My heart tightened as if someone had squeezed it. He would be happy, right? 23. I didn't go to Lincoln and Grace's meeting. The system scolded me for being a coward. I retorted silently, so what if I am? Watching the person I liked meet the one he liked, how pathetic would that make me? I curled up on Lincoln's bed and slept most of the afternoon. Near evening, an argument woke me. I don't like women, Lincoln's calm voice rang out. I already explained it to Grace today. My father's veins bulged in anger. Lincoln, you're insane. The system was dumbfounded. Hunter, you did it, you turned the protagonist gay. No way. After much arguing, he finally compromised. You don't like women, fine. But the arranged marriage must happen. After marriage, you can do as you please. The next day, he discussed the wedding. Grace wore a white dress, looking pure and delicate. She hadn't slept well. Her face looked tired. Do you really not like me at all? Lincoln's face was neutral. You like me? I've always liked you. What do you like about me? Lincoln asked. Do you like me as an alpha, or my status, or my face? Grace froze. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. Lincoln chuckled lightly. Then, suddenly, he pulled out a small knife, and slashed at his own face. If it's like that, you don't need to like me. Holy, blood flowed. Grace turned pale, screaming repeatedly. I wished I could possess a body again. Frantically shaking the system. System, are you dead? Lincoln is going crazy. Stop him before he kills himself. The system stared blankly. This is the hardest protagonist I've ever handled. I have no idea what to do. What was he doing? Blood soaked half of Lincoln's face and his white shirt. Though small, the impact was serious. The story, just brought back on track, had once again shifted. 24. After waking in the hospital, Lincoln lay alone on the bed. Thick bandages wrapped around his right face. Neither mother nor father was there. The child they claimed to love most now avoided him like a venomous snake. They didn't raise you well, I thought, staring at Lincoln. I'd take better care of you. Even if I sometimes forced you to do things you didn't like, most of the time, I'd be fine, right? Forget it. No need to compare myself. Hunter. Lincoln suddenly spoke my name. I froze, almost thinking he saw me. But he only stared at the ceiling with gray eyes, speaking to the air. There are so many people in this world, yet I still hate you the most. My chest tightened, nose tingling. I know. Do you need to say it again? You've said it so many times. You hate me. You ruined me, left me here alone, hiding away. I hate you. I despise you. Sorry. I whispered the apology in my heart. Sorry. He added, quietly, almost inaudibly. But if you come back, I'll forgive you. 25. Oh, so spirits can cry too. First time I've seen this, the system said, leaning close and peering at me from all angles. I was annoyed beyond words. Shut up. Even though I was a spirit now and Lincoln couldn't see me crying, it still felt embarrassing. So I sneaked outside. Of course, the system couldn't resist teasing me. The protagonist is now completely OOC. The story has cracks. I asked the Temporal Management Bureau for some story glue to patch it. A nurse came to change Lincoln's bandages and knocked on the door. Patient 201, we're here to change your dressing. She knocked several times with no reply. The nurse pushed the door open herself. A second later, a scream pierced the hospital ward. The patient committed suicide. Damn, the system said, unusually serious. The protagonist committed suicide. The story glue is useless now. I froze, staring at the stark white sheets soaked with red. Everything blurred before my eyes. Why? A question rose in my mind. Why would he commit suicide? Why? Before I could even think it through, it felt like someone hit the back of my head with a heavy blunt object. Everything went black. 26. Do spirits get hit like that too? When I opened my eyes again, the pain at the back of my head still felt real. Grimacing, I sat up, looking down at my hands on my lap. Wait, hands? I spread my fingers in disbelief. My body was back. What's happening? System. A small glowing orb above me replied in a muffled voice. I'm a soul now. No, why are you so tiny? I mismanaged this world, got downgraded. So what's happening now? The world reset. Every story has returned to the very beginning, the point where you and Lincoln don't even know each other yet. Back, to the beginning. I shot up, grabbed 2 random clothes from the wardrobe, and put them on. I checked my phone. It was 9 a.m. Perfect timing to catch Lincoln at school. I had never felt this alive before. Every leaf, every flower, every tree seemed extraordinary. At school, I went straight to Lincoln's classroom, which I knew by heart. He looked a bit younger than I remembered, wearing a simple white t-shirt, bangs slightly covering his eyes. His profile was clear and delicate. He rested his chin on his hand, concentrating on the teacher at the front. He looked perfect. Very good. I felt relieved. Are you sure you still want to see him? I think it's better if you don't meet him yet. The system whispered. If I get downgraded again, I'll become a bottom-tier system. I chuckled. I'm not going to meet him. I just want to look at him once. Just once. I only wish for his safety, happiness, health, and peace. Everything else doesn't matter. 10 minutes later, the bell rang. The classroom emptied. I stood up. Time to go. Just 2 steps outside, my wrist was grabbed by a firm hand. I turned. The face I knew better than my own, the one I had longed for, looked down at me. His eyes carried the familiar intensity. I froze, forgetting to move. Hunter, got you. Extra. Later, I asked the system why Lincoln recognized me even after the reset. Its answer: because the protagonist's obsession with you was too strong. His consciousness had separated from the original story, becoming independent. Even if the world reset 100 times, he would remember and recognize me. Thinking of running again? Lincoln snorted. Even if you hadn't come for me that time, I would have found you and brought you out immediately. If you dare to pretend you don't know me, I'll repeat everything you did to me. Lock you on the bed, not letting you down for a day. I rested my chin, pondering for a moment. Wow, is this a reward? Can I still pretend I have amnesia? I don't remember. The system rolled its eyes. Shameless. Lincoln held my hand, dark and possessive. Will you leave me again? Will you? I need the truth. I answered honestly, no. Are you also reluctant to leave me? Lincoln, I need the truth too. He looked away, answering after a while, little, I guess. I saw it too. He was a bit unwilling to let go. Lincoln, I love you. I love you more than anyone else in this world. It wasn't a dramatic confession. It was my promise. Hunter loved Lincoln. Always would. Even if the world shattered, I would find his hand in the crowd, and never let go.